Photography is hard, but it doesn't have to be. In fact, there's a slew of tips and tricks, hacks that you can do to keep your sanity while trying to navigate either the hobby or career of photography. And believe me, knowing these tips and tricks and making your whole experience with photography smoother is going to help you out tremendously in the long run. So if you just picked up a camera and are trying to give this whole photography thing a try, here are 5 very simple but effective hacks to make your life easier. Number 1 is set your lens or lenses before going to location. Now I understand that sometimes, in fact most times probably, you're going to have to switch lenses while on location. But if you can keep from doing that, say you've just got one lens or you're only going to use one lens primarily, set that before you get to location. While you're at your office or wherever you are with all your gear, get your lens attached, make sure your sensor's clean, put it on, and don't take it off while you're at location. This is going to minimize the dust that gets onto your sensor. Overall, it's just gonna keep everything much cleaner because believe me, as much as you think you can do a good job keeping everything clean when switching lenses on location, it's not gonna happen. The dust is just gonna hit your sensor and it's going to happen. So make sure you get your lens or lenses attached to your camera bodies before you head out to location. The second hack comes into play if you can't do that. If you are going to be switching lenses on your shoot, wherever you are, this is extremely important. Anytime you are switching your lenses, keep your camera body faced down and keep it down through the process of switching your lenses. Now, ideally, every time you're also going to take an air blower, stick it up there, get a few puffs on your sensor while it's still facing down. That allows the dust to fall out and stay out and off your sensor. If it's upright, it just gives tons of opportunity for dust to fall back on there, or if you're using your air blower like that, it's just gonna fall back onto the sensor. So keep your camera bodies facing down. This is also for DSLRs. I know you've got the mirror in there, but it is actually a lot more effective than you realize. When I started doing this, I noticed significantly less sensor dust. Now it still happens, sensor dust is just always going to happen, but this will 100% help minimize it. Number 3, the create a new folder function. Use it. I didn't know about this until very, very far down the line, but man, have I been using it ever since. Now I want to say most cameras should have this. Some beginner level cameras, maybe it may not, but for the most part, most beginner to mid-range and your professional cameras should have this. It also depends on your brand, but for every single Sony that I've worked with, I'm a Sony man, go into your menu and you hit that create a new folder. That is going to make a fresh folder for your photos. This is super helpful for when you have multiple shoots or just multiple sections of the same shoot. Whenever you have wrapped up one section or whenever you've wrapped up one shoot and you're gonna go to another location, hit that create a new folder and voila, everything is already sorted in that folder when you get home and are trying to sort things. But it helps tremendously with processing time on the post-production side of things. Once you start using it, you will not stop using it. I can guarantee you that. Before I get into this next one, please back up your files. Before you delete anything, always back up your files. Just back up your files. Number 4, only format your cards in your camera. You can format cards on computers, but I've had that cause some issues with my camera before. This was very early on. I'd format a card on my computer, put it in my camera, go to take photos, and sure enough, the card would not work because of the way the computer formatted it. Also, just format often. I haven't had a lot of issues with cards dying on me or just not writing properly. It's been here and there, but for the most part, I've had pretty good luck with cards, and I still have some SD cards that I use that are fairly old. Granted, I don't use them for any professional uses, they're just kind of there for my personal use, and if they die, they die. So whenever you're all backed up and ready to wipe your card, always put it in your camera and format from your camera. That's gonna make sure all the files that your camera needs to write to that card are gonna be placed properly, and you won't have any issues. And number 5, the final hack. Utilize your manual focus and focus peaking early. Focus peaking is a function that you are going to find on most mirrorless cameras nowadays. Now, I can't guarantee that it's on your camera for sure. Again, it just kind of depends on what camera you get and what brand you get, but for the most part, you should have that functionality. Now, generally, I'd say yes, auto mode is going to be your best friend when you're just starting out, and it's going to do everything you need to, but that shouldn't stop you from playing around with manual focus and your focus peaking setting. Believe me, there are going to be a lot of instances while you're playing around with your cameras that autofocus is not going to cut it. You are going to have to get manual focus if you want a tack sharp image based off of what you're trying to capture. And the sooner you know how to do that efficiently, without bumbling around and missing a shot, the more you're going to thank yourself down the road. Now, focus peaking is just going to highlight things that are in focus. You can choose a color of white, red, blue, green. There's all kinds of different colors that you can choose. I usually like to stick with red because that's the easiest to see. As you start to turn your focus dial, you'll notice that your field of focus shifts, and whatever is in focus is going to be highlighted in red or whatever color you have. That is what focus peaking does, is it just helps, again, essentially highlight what you've got in focus. It is a fantastic tool for both photography and videography, and I myself wish that I started using it a lot sooner and getting familiar with it a lot sooner when I first picked up my camera. There you guys have it. That is 5 very simple and easy hacks that you can start using today with your camera to help speed your, like I said, photography hobby or photography career right along. If you guys did enjoy this video, go ahead and give it a like down below, as well as subscribe for future content like this. I would love to hear in the comments down below, guys, which hack stuck out to you and the one that you're gonna start using. And as always, a very special thank you to those of you who stick around for this whole video, watching me ramble along and boosting my video retention. That is what we want. This video's community highlight goes to Louis Martin. I hope I am saying that right. He says, "This camera is literally paying my bills right now, so I can't complain." He posted that on my "Is the A7 III still relevant in 2025" video. Louis, that is awesome that it is paying your bills. If you are to the point where your camera is paying your bills, you are doing something right, so I commend you for that. But we are to the point in the video, guys, where I say that is enough consuming content. Get out there, create something yourself. Go use your camera, use these hacks. I'll see you all in the next video.
Morning lights, new dawn, yeah, we ready for more. Breaking out new borns, driven by the allure. Facing life head on, blowing fresh at the door. No limits, all in it, yeah, we ready to soar. Every step that I take, every move that I make,